Okay, we're back, and Rick was just through the break there, and as you can see, we're doing these in segments to try to not bore you. If all of you want to watch every one of these segments, great, we'd encourage you to. But I know some of you are going to take bits and pieces out of these and watch different things, and that's great. But we've got one last segment we want to talk about when it comes to the new oil and the different things that are going on, and Rick, just continue. We were talking through the break. I'm just going to throw it back at you. Just keep talking.
No, you're right. You start looking at how the demands on the engines and manufacturers is coming on, and also you start looking at the environment and what's coming on for products to be able to lower the operating cost, or to be able to operate in an area of a natural resource that you could use, with the abundance of natural gas that's coming on in our states right now, or even in the country. The new
around
LNG,
the world, actually.
Around the world, you're exactly right. The CNG, LNG
right.
engines that are coming out, and you start looking at what the demands that has on motor oil. Now,
and for just a second, I want to stop. So, just so you all listening know, and we've talked about this on our show, they're cleaner engines.
Absolutely.
So they burn cleaner, but they also require different types of oil to manage what's going on inside the engine.
Now, the CNG is compressed natural gas.
Right.
LNG is liquid natural gas that goes on to them. So when you start looking at an engine that comes back out that requires those products, you have an engine that's a dual, that could be, that with a switch can go from normal diesel or gasoline to compressed natural gas, or that product. Or you look at an engine that only runs off the CNG, LNG. Now, on a motor oil, how we look at it, is one spark ignited, which is the one that can be dualed both ways. The other one is not spark ignited, that comes in as far as how that engine works, correct?
The other way around.
It's the other way around? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to stop that. I thought it was the other way with dual, because you have to have spark ignited for the 1540 to be able to run.
The dual fuel on diesels don't have
sparks. Okay.
But if you're dedicated natural gas, it is spark.
It is spark driven at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, and that's correct. I've heard that.
No, you're right on.
I've done a little studying on that myself. Guys that are taking a diesel engine and running full natural gas in it, it has to have an igniter, because it will not compress enough to ignite, to my knowledge anyways. They run some sort of an igniter to actually allow that to get that flame going, etc.
Yeah, I think the dual fuels, like on the diesels, if there's
they're
a
mixing
little bit
some,
of,
right?
Little bit of diesel.
I think that's right.
In there to
That's
ignite.
right. They're mixing it. Just like, to you guys, you guys know this too, and your knowledge of this is still there. 10 years ago or so, a lot of the diesel guys were running propane injection to try to up the horsepower and different things, and it worked. Well, I think what they did is they just took that, and I may be totally wrong, so if I am, forgive me, but I think the CNG guys just took that same idea and thought, well, wait a minute, if the propane guys can do it, we can do the same thing with compressed natural gas. Thereby, if they run a mixture of that, they don't have to have a dedicated igniter. Is probably the best way for me to say that. Where if you're running total natural, because I was confused on the same thing, so don't feel bad, guys. I did some studying myself
this is all brand new.
It is, and being a gearhead, wrapping your head around, wait a minute, diesels
Right.
work off of compressing, they work off of generating heat in the combustion chamber that fires the fuel, and off you go. I couldn't wrap my head around, okay, well, how do you do compressed natural gas in a diesel? Well, to Gary's point, you've got to have some sort of an igniter or a mixture of the two to actually get it to ignite to work. And in some cases, they're using a little bit of diesel fuel to help get the natural gas ignited. But now, back to, it takes a special, or it takes different, I should say special, but it takes different oil to accommodate those needs that are going on, correct?
Go ahead. No, finish up. Finish up.
It's actually two different oils. If you're the dual fuel oil, and you're running on diesel and natural gas, gasoline, natural gas, you can continue to use the same oil that you were using for the diesel engine and the gasoline engine.
So if you're running a 540 synthetic in that diesel engine and you're going to run dual, you can continue to run that, no problem. Now, if I'm running all natural gas, what happens?
Then you need an oil that's blended with an additive package specifically for natural gas engine. And that it burns cleaner.
Okay.
There's less soot. So
does it have less detergents and things in it?
Less dispersants.
Okay.
But there are acids. There's different things that the combustion of the natural gas creates, byproducts, that the oil needs to contend with.
Got it.
And if you're not using an oil with an additive package built for that, then you're not going to give that engine the
Interesting.
protection.
And I just learned something new there because I mean, I knew about all the technology as far as the fuels go. I did not know you needed to run a specific oil if you're going to run a total CNG diesel engine. So, is that the same on a gas engine that's running CNG? Do they need a different oil requirement, or do you just still run the same oil
A
that's
dual
required?
fuel,
Of that? Yeah, dual fuel.
you can use your regular
Use your regular
engine.
oil in that. Because there's a lot of that going on today, too.
Right.
As you guys know, GM's got a truck now that they're producing, Ford's got one, actually they all the big three
Right.
have CNG options on some of their fleet trucks where you can actually get a CNG.
Right. If you dual it, you have no option. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
obstacle that you're going to go
And
against.
we've known that. I mean, we've had power generation engines and
Right.
things that were stationary engines where there were specific oils for those applications.
So you guys have had experience with this long before it was even done over the road.
But we didn't have it on a road
Got it.
application.
Got
So and that's a little different, but it's
But that's the advantage of being around since 1929.
Well, it is, and in being in Kansas, you're around a lot of farming,
Right.
a lot of irrigation pivots, and everything run off compressed natural gas. So
Got it.
you have to have a natural gas engine oil to be able to function
Got
in
it.
those applications. So taking them and going on to the on-road, there's some changes. And again, I had things turned around too,
It's all
and
right.
making presentations. So Gary's been our resident expert on this, and
It's perfect.
I probably
It's all right.
should have led him.
No,
into
it's
that,
fine.
you know,
It's
so-
perfect. That's not a
so,
problem. Hey,
but still-
it just shows we're real.
Absolutely.
And by the way, guys, those of you listening, don't be too critical. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with oil to try to put it all in your noggin and then pull that back out. That's why you have these things to help you with that, because it's very difficult. But we'll be right back. Stay with us. John Rush, your host, Drive Radio.